After getting scammed by my online boyfriend, I called the cops. The officer who took my report was my ex-boyfriend, who I hadn't seen since we broke up years ago. He stared at my chat history, absolutely furious. You sent him 5,200. Stella, you slept with me for 3 days and all I got was a $10 bowl of ramen. I pointed to the photo on my phone to make him face reality. He's younger than you. This photo is obviously FA. He stared at the phone, then suddenly froze, his face growing darker and darker. Oh, he's young, all right. This is my damn nephew who hasn't even graduated from high school. If I've committed a crime, let the law punish me. Don't make me report being scammed by an online lover. Only to have the case handled by the ex-boyfriend I broke up with years ago. Name? Miles's gaze lingered on me for a second before snapping back to his usual cold, professional demeanor. Stella Sullivan. I shot him a guilty look. Damn, how did he get even hotter after all these years? I'd fallen for him at first sight back when he was in his army uniform. And now, seeing his slim waist and long legs wrapped in that police uniform. Ugh, Stella, stop it. Haven't you been fooled by good looks enough for one lifetime? Get a grip. Reason for the report? He didn't look up, his fingers tapping away at the keyboard. I forced myself to answer. My online boyfriend suddenly ghosted me. And you sent him money, right? He let out a dry chuckle, dripping with sarcasm. Yes. My voice was barely a whisper. He finally glanced up at me. It's been 5 years, Stella. Your taste in men and your IQ have really taken a nosedive. You just keep hitting new lows. What's that supposed to mean? It means, he said, his face expressionless and his tone icy, this is a classic pig butchering scam, right from the playbook. You went to college for nothing. Not a single bit of knowledge stuck, just a head full of lovesick fantasies, huh? He's not like that. I shot back, unconvinced. We had a great connection. How great? He scoffed. Good morning and good night texts. Baby, what are you doing? I miss you so much. A sudden emergency that required money? I froze. How did you know? Huh. He let out a sharp, derisive breath. He's got his script down pat. Probably their top performer. That's enough, Miles. I slammed my hand on the table. I'm the victim here. Can you please show a little professionalism? He leaned forward slightly, his eyes locking onto mine. My professional duty is to remind you, have you downloaded an anti-scam app on your phone? As he spoke, he pulled out a small stand with a QR code and placed it in front of me. And while you're at it, follow our department's official anti-scam account. Spend more time learning and less time getting duped. I was speechless. This jerk. He was using me to hit his quota. Looking like he was enjoying the show, he said, so, tell me. How did you two meet? My online boyfriend and I met playing a video game. He was an incredible player, always carrying the team, and he'd randomly gift me new skins. He was always calling me sweetie this and sweetie that, and it made my heart flutter. The only weird thing was that he'd often say he had to go to class in the middle of our chats. I was naive enough to wonder, wow, is college really that demanding these days? From the side, Miles cut in coldly, he was probably taking classes in some overseas scam center. I said nothing. Later, when he confessed his feelings for me, I initially turned him down. Dating a younger guy just didn't seem reliable. That is, until I saw a picture he posted on his social feed that completely won me over. He had a face that was the perfect mix of sweet and edgy, with a tall, lean body. All because of one picture? Miles interrupted, his jaw tight. Stella, when did you get so shallow? None of your business. I glared at him. I've always been this shallow. Are you just realizing that now? Miles and I had our own hero saves the damsel moment. I was traveling out of state when my wallet got stolen during a sandstorm. He was a soldier on a temporary assignment who found me. Back then, he was in his military dress uniform, standing tall and straight, with a ruggedly handsome face that broke into a smile revealing two adorable little canine teeth. I was instantly smitten. The truth is, I never told him this, but when I saw my online boyfriend's picture, I subconsciously thought of Miles. The face was uncannily similar. And better yet, this was a younger, more attentive version of Miles who provided endless emotional support. He was the ultimate upgrade. We chatted almost every day. He was sweet, clingy, well-behaved, and thoughtful. Then yesterday, he said he was out with friends and one of them broke a bone and was in the hospital. They needed to pay a deposit, but nobody had any money on them. I sent him some cash. And then, nothing. "Officer," I said, clinging to one last shred of hope. "Is it possible something happened to him? Like he lost his phone? Or he was kidnapped?" He didn't even look up, just tossed a single word at me. "Please. Let me see the chat history. We'll do our best to track him down." I held my breath and handed over my phone. He scrolled through the screen. His fingers suddenly stopped, and his brow furrowed. "Ex-boyfriend in heaven? Oh, crap. He saw my username. I'm still here breathing, and you've already reserved my spot in the afterlife?" I cleared my throat, my eyes darting around guiltily. "Don't take it personally. It's not necessarily about you." He snorted and kept reading. "Sweet baby." My face flushed. I really should have changed the contact name. He stared at the screen, grinding his back teeth. "Wow, Stella. We dated for 4 years, and you always called me by my full name. Now you're calling some scammer you've never even met, baby?" My toes curled inside my shoes. I desperately looked for a crack in the floor to disappear into. He continued to dig through my chat history. With every line he read, his face got a little darker. "Sweetie, it's so cold today, I need a hug." "Huh, if you're cold, why don't you put on a coat?" "Sweetie, I'm not feeling well today, my head's all dizzy." "If you're not feeling well, why don't you see a doctor? Is your sweetie a physician?" "Sweetie, I got you to the master tier in the game today, do I get a reward?" "Your reward is a pair of rose gold bracelets." "Sweetie, I'm so lonely by myself. I wish you were here with me. Come to the VIP suite at the detention center. Plenty of guys to keep you company there." Stop reading it out loud. Mortified and furious, I tried to snatch my phone back. Suddenly, Miles's gaze froze. He looked incredulous. 5,200. "Stella, you sent him 5,200. You slept with me for 3 days and all I got was a $10 bowl of ramen. Some scammer you've never met gets 5 grand. So what does that make me?" His voice was so loud that several of his colleagues turned to stare, eager for the gossip. I wanted to die of embarrassment. I lunged forward to cover his mouth. "He's different from you. Besides, we were just broke students back then. Where would I have gotten that kind of money? How is he different? He's better at lying and pretending, is that it?" His attitude finally lit my fuse. "He checks in about everything. He tells me goodnight every single night. He listens when I complain. Even if we can't meet, he doesn't make me feel like I'm dating my phone. What about you? Can you do any of that?" He fell silent. A storm of emotions I couldn't decipher churned in his eyes. Back then, our breakup was ugly. I had chased Miles relentlessly before he finally agreed to date me. I was a college student, he was a soldier at a remote border outpost. We had a long-distance relationship for 3 years, separated by 2,500 miles. It went from sweet nothings to hysterical fights. During our last argument, I said I wanted to break up. He said fine, he was tired anyway. In a fit of anger, I sent him a picture of me with another guy to provoke him. He replied, "I wish you the best." I demanded to know what he meant. But he just said, "Just pretend I'm dead." In a second fit of rage, I bought him a 10-year premium subscription for his messaging app. Then I changed all my social media handles to ex-boyfriend in heaven. After all these years, who would have thought we'd meet again under these circumstances? Miles looked down, filled out the receipt, and handed it to me, his voice returning to a calm, official tone. We'll do our best to investigate, but the chances of recovering the money in a case like this are slim. If you have any other leads, you can provide them to us. Suddenly, I remembered. He posted pictures on his social feed. I saved one. I quickly found the photo and handed him my phone. He sighed in exasperation. This is useless. It's either a stock photo or AI generated. But it doesn't look like AI to me. And it looked so much like him. That AI would have to know my tastes a little too well. I swallowed those words before they could escape. If you could tell the difference, you wouldn't be. He stopped mid-sentence. Staring at the photo, he suddenly froze. Oh no, he's not going to think I'm still obsessed with him and found a replacement, is he? Hey, don't get the wrong idea. He only looks a little bit like you, but everything else is different. He's sweet, attentive, young. He's young, all right, he ground out through his teeth. It took him a long moment to force out the next sentence. This is my damn nephew who hasn't even finished high school. What did he just say? I felt like a bolt of lightning had just struck my head. Can I take back this police report? Miles's face was dark as he pulled out his phone and made a call. Hey, sis. Where's Alex? Put him on the phone. Are you going to come down here yourself, or do I have to send a car to pick you up? A rustling sound came from the other end of the line. Not long after, a sharp, middle-aged woman rushed in. Get in here, she snapped, yanking a student in a school uniform along with her. The kid hung his head, a look of defiance on his face. When he looked up and saw me, his eyes lit up. Ex-boyfriend in heaven, sweetie? I was speechless. Miles's face got even darker. He wasn't in heaven, he was standing right in front of you. Oh, and he's your uncle. This world has gone completely insane. Miles scowled and pulled Alex aside. Alex, are you broke? Is your family not feeding you? What are you doing scamming people online at your age? Alex looked aggrieved. I didn't. Then why did you disappear off the face of the earth after she sent you the money? Alex looked more wrong than a Shakespearean tragedy hero. He held up his wrist, showing off a kid's smartwatch. My mom confiscated my phone. How was I supposed to contact her with this thing? I was freaking out, too. Miles's sister stood by, looking completely lost. Miles, what on earth is going on? With a grim face, Miles quickly explained the situation. After listening, his sister slapped her thigh. Oh, my goodness. This is all a huge misunderstanding. She rushed over, grabbed my hand, and started apologizing profusely. Honey, I am so sorry. This kid skipped school with his friends a few days ago, and one of them broke a leg. The teacher called me, and I saw he'd been obsessed with games and this online romance. He's a senior in high school and not studying, so I got mad and took his phone. I'll transfer the money back to you right now. I'm truly sorry about all this. Alex snuck a peek at me, then spoke up timidly. Sweetie, I really wasn't lying to you. My head was still buzzing. Especially looking at this brat in his school uniform. I gritted my teeth and asked him, you didn't graduate from college? He was at a loss for words for a moment, then mumbled, well, I haven't graduated from college, technically. He had told me he was a student. When I asked if he'd graduated from college, he said no. Turns out he hadn't graduated from high school either. And you said you were in your 20s? He coughed, his eyes darting away. I was rounding up. I was speechless. Great. Who the hell rounds up their age by 3 years? Miles's sister smacked him on the back of the head. Apologize to her right now. Already learning how to trick girls at your age, are we? Alex hung his head and pouted. I'm sorry, sweetie. Miles's sister stared at me, then suddenly let out a small "oh." Hey, honey, have we met before? You look so familiar. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly looked down. You must be mistaken. You just look so familiar, I can't quite place it. Seeing my discomfort, Miles stepped in. I'll walk you guys out. I'm getting off work anyway. His sister immediately jumped on the offer. Great, great. We have to treat this young lady to a meal to make it up to her. No, really, you don't have to. I waved my hands frantically. Wasn't this situation messy enough? In the end, his sister hooked her arm through mine. I was half pushed, half pulled to a restaurant near the police station. She ordered a few of the house specialties. After the server brought the utensils, Miles picked up the thermos of hot water on the table and skillfully started rinsing my bowl and chopsticks. The two of them across the table froze. Back in the day, his time as a soldier had made him tough and unfussy. He wasn't a picky eater and didn't care for formalities. I, on the other hand, was a bit of a germaphobe and always had to scald my utensils with hot water before using them at restaurants. Eventually, it became a habit for him to do it for me before every meal. Even though we had broken up, the muscle memory remained. He seemed to realize what he was doing and his hand paused in midair. I quickly took the bowl from him, thanking him. Thanks, officer. His sister's eyes darted between us, a knowing smile on her face. Stella, dear, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? 25. She clapped her hands. Oh, my. My bratty son really needs a good spanking. I feel so bad for all the trouble he's caused you. How about this? This is my younger brother. He's 29, just recently transferred out of the military, and he's a detective on the force. Handsome, isn't he? The more I look at you two, the more perfect you seem for each other. Beside her, Alex couldn't hold back. Mom, Uncle Miles is so old. How can he be good enough for her? Besides, her ex-boyfriend died, and she's never gotten over it. All her social media usernames are ex-boyfriend and heave. Alex. Miles's face was cold as he tapped the table. Why can't your mouth be as quiet as your test scores are low? His own mother shot him a glare. What do you know? Girls like mature men. An older man knows how to take care of you. Then she turned back to me, smiling. I didn't realize you were such a devoted person, Stella. But you're so young, you have to move forward, you know? My brother dated someone before, too, and he's never been able to let her go. Her tone shifted, and she lowered her voice. If you don't mind my asking, how long has it been since your ex passed away? I secretly glanced at the man next to me, whose face was as dark as a thundercloud. I struggled to get the words out. 3 years. She looked worried. Oh, what a tragedy, gone too soon. What did he do? How did he pass away so young? I forced myself to answer. He was a soldier. Her expression immediately turned respectful. Oh, my. Then he's a fallen hero. A national hero. You know, my brother's missions in the army were also incredibly dangerous. I was always on pins and needles. Back then, he was dating a girl, too. I'd only seen her picture, and I was thinking that once she graduated. She suddenly stopped talking. She stared at me, then slapped her forehead. Oh my God. I remember now. You're the girl from Miles's phone. Save me, someone, please save me. Just then, my phone rang. A true lifesaver. My best friend's voice came through, choked with tears. Hey, we broke up. I quickly stood up. I'm so sorry, something urgent came up. I have to go. Any later and I would have cringed myself into another dimension. At the bar, my best friend was completely wasted. I feel so awful. Quick, say something to make me feel better. I silently took a large gulp of my drink and told her, I got scammed by my online boyfriend and had to file a police report. She looked up. Oh, really? I'm so sorry, that's terrible. The cop who took my report was my ex-boyfriend of 3 years. What? She was suddenly half sober. The one in heaven? I nodded, then added, and it turns out the online boyfriend was his nephew, who's still in high school. My friend just stared, completely stunned. I said, so? Still feeling awful? She took a moment to process. I feel instantly better. A breakup is nothing compared to that. Oh my God, not even a TV show would dare to write a plot that crazy. You have to tell me all the juicy details, haha. I told her the whole bizarre story of my day. She went from shocked to more shocked to utterly speechless. So, the uncle liked you, and the nephew fell for you too. That family really has a consistent type. First, you reaped the uncle, then you nearly harvested the nephew. Talk about keeping it in the family. You're really farming the same family tree. I wanted to bury my face in my glass. Please, stop. I'm already regretting everything so much. I just thought the kid looked like Miles. How was I supposed to know he was his actual nephew? No wonder they say nephews take after their uncles. My friend leaned in, a wicked smile on her face. So, which one do you actually like? I almost spit out my drink. Alex is only 17. Am I crazy? I'm not trying to be a cradle robber. Well, he's almost an adult, she giggled. According to the classic romance plot, this is where the younger guy makes his move, trying to seduce the heroine. Auntie, my uncle's too old for you. Stop, please, stop. That was too ridiculous. Honestly, seeing Alex in his school uniform with that kid's smartwatch today made me feel like I was on an episode of To Catch a Predator. So, you're still not over your ex, then? Well, not exactly. It's just that seeing him again today, I still felt a little. After all, Miles's face and that body of his were still exactly my type. Years ago, I was traveling alone in a remote border region to get inspiration for my work. My wallet was stolen, and I got caught in severe weather. That's when Miles descended from the heavens, and I fell for him at first sight. I chased him relentlessly, but he rejected me time and time again. I'm older than you. I like older men. They know how to take care of you. I'm a soldier. We'll almost never have time to see each other. That's okay. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Every time we meet will be like a honeymoon. My duties are demanding. I can't guarantee I'll always have my phone on me, and phone calls are even less likely. Then I'll wait for you to reply. I'll wait as long as it takes. Back then, I was blinded by infatuation and full of youthful passion. All I wanted was to win him over. In the end, he couldn't resist my persistence and finally agreed. Just as he'd said, we couldn't be like a normal couple, spending every day together. 2,500 miles, a time difference, and spotty cell service separated us. Every day, I'd share all the little details of my life with him. Whenever he had time, he would reply to every single message. I would push my luck sometimes. Hey, let me see your abs. He'd glance around like a thief. Only after confirming no one was watching would he shyly lift his t-shirt. Through a screen. I could see him but not hold him, and the longing grew more intense. His vacations were rare, but he always rushed to see me the first chance he got. Sometimes, I had classes and wanted to skip to spend time with him, but he wouldn't let me. While I was in class, he would wander around my campus alone. He said he wanted to see the place where I studied and lived. He would also explore the neighborhood, and whenever he saw something delicious, fun, or useful, he'd buy it, thinking about what I could use. For large lecture classes, I would bring him along. I remember one time during my sophomore year, I had a military theory class. It was a general elective, so most students were just slacking off. The professor posed a question. In our current era of peace, what is the purpose of weapons? He called on a random student and pointed right at Miles, who was sitting next to me. You, in the back. How would you answer that? Miles instinctively stood up, snapping into a standard military posture. Sir. I believe the purpose of weapons is precisely to protect peace. Only by holding the upper hand do we have the right to talk about peace. Dignity is found only on the edge of a sword, and truth lies only within the range of a cannon. The professor looked at him, surprised. Which class are you in? You don't look like a student. You carry yourself like a soldier. Miles scratched his head, embarrassed. I'm a student's +1. The professor praised him. Well, it seems our student's +1 has a very high level of awareness. The classroom erupted in teasing cheers. Blushing, I buried my face in my textbook. Under the desk, he quietly took my hand. After class, I took him for a walk around campus. Looking back, we don't have many dating memories. His time was so limited that whenever we saw each other, all we wanted to do was kiss and hold each other. We hadn't seen each other in too long and were desperate for the warmth of the other's body. His physical stamina was terrifyingly impressive. The most extreme time, we holed up in a hotel for 3 days without leaving. When it was time for him to go, we were so reluctant to part. We were running late, so we just grabbed a quick bowl of ramen at a stall by the school gate before saying goodbye. My best friend's eyes lit up as she listened. No wonder you haven't dated anyone all these years. You've been spoiled by the best. But it sounds like you two had a great relationship. Why did you break up in the end? Don't tell me he cheated. I shook my head. It wasn't anything like that. I guess we were just tired. Distance can create beauty and an intense sense of longing. But it can also create rifts, resentment, and blame. 2,500 miles, with only a phone to bridge the gap. When other couples were holding hands on dates, I couldn't even get a timely reply from him. Even in other long-distance relationships, people could text back instantly and see each other often. But he was different. I would send him a long paragraph, and it would be hours before I got a response. By the time he replied, I might be busy, and by the time I was free again, he'd be gone. When I was sick, he couldn't be by my side. Even a comforting word would arrive late. I remember our last meeting before the breakup with perfect clarity. We had been fighting, and I hadn't spoken to him for days. Then one day after class, I saw that familiar figure standing under the academic building. Miles, what are you doing here? He looked travel-worn, with bloodshot eyes, but he pulled me into a tight hug. In that moment, all the hurt and complaints melted away. Our time together was too precious to waste on fighting. That day, after dinner, we went to see a movie, and he fell asleep on my shoulder. I gently woke him. Miles, let's get a room. You should go to the hotel and get some proper sleep. But he explained with difficulty, Stella, I have to go back tonight. Tears instantly welled up in my eyes. But you've only been here for a few hours. He helplessly tried to comfort me. Don't cry, I was supposed to have a whole day with you, but my flight was cancelled at the last minute, so I had to take the train. 2,500 miles. How long must he have been on a train? No wonder he was so exhausted. After every parting, I had to go through a long period of withdrawal. All those promises I had made back then, I can wait, it's okay, were shattered by reality. Only then did I understand that when you love someone, you want them by your side all the time. But the more you're deprived of that complete companionship, the more you feel wronged. He was busy, and I was gradually being worn down by life. During my senior year, I was an intern reporter and faced a lot of setbacks. People are always most in need of support when they're vulnerable, but he was often absent. There was a period when I couldn't reach him at all, and I felt anxious and helpless. We would fight, but he was a man of few words and didn't know how to comfort me. That last time, I walked in the pouring rain for a long time, desperately wishing he would suddenly appear and pull me into his arms like he used to. But he didn't even send a single text. I said spitefully, Miles, someone else gave me their umbrella. Let's break up. After a long pause, he replied with a single word. Okay. I was so angry I cursed at him, crying out of frustration. I didn't really want to break up with you. Would it kill you to just comfort me for once? He said, Stella, you're tired, and I'm tired. Let's just stop dragging this out. It's pointless. I frantically called him, sent him angry texts. I even childishly sent him a picture of myself with another guy to provoke him. He just said, don't contact me again. Just pretend I'm dead. I guess he, too, was exhausted by a relationship with no future in sight. The beginning of the story is always beautiful. You can rush into it with a heart full of passion. But in the end, time wears everything down. Just as he said, in the end, he was tired, and I was tired, too. My friend sighed. Well, he's a cop now. Wouldn't you reconsider? I shook my head and drained the last of my drink. Forget it. Back then was the age for dating. Now is the age for marriage. Besides, it's been so long. Neither of us is indispensable to the other. I spent half the night drinking with my best friend. I was supposed to be comforting her through her breakup. But after she heard my story, she ended up comforting me for the rest of the night. Girl, your life story would be a hit if you turned it into a web series. The next morning, I woke up with a hangover to find my phone had blown up. It was all messages from that kid, Alex. Sweetie, you're not going to ignore me now, are you? Please talk to me. My mom only lets me use my phone for an hour a day. I really wasn't trying to trick you. I was just afraid you'd think I was too young. My mom said you're my uncle's ex-girlfriend. Can I still call you sweetie? Or should I call you my ex-aunt-in-law? Are you getting back together with my uncle? I think you should find someone younger. I looked at the screen full of green message bubbles and felt the urge to add him and his uncle to my block list. I turned off my phone and quickly packed a bag. I had an out-of-town interview for work today. Once I was busy with work, I wouldn't have time to think about all this drama. But halfway there, it started to snow. The navigation system announced that the highway was closed, forcing me onto the back roads. As I was driving down a narrow country lane, my car suddenly hit a small pothole and skidded. I was screwed. With the roads closed by snow, rescue wouldn't be coming anytime soon. It was below freezing, and my gas tank was almost empty. I had to turn off the heat and was shivering from the cold. I posted my location to my social media story, hoping against hope that a kind soul might be passing by. An hour passed, then two. It got dark, and the snow fell even harder. My hands and feet were numb, and I was starting to feel dizzy. Just as I was losing all hope, a pair of headlights cut through the snowstorm. An SUV screeched to a halt next to my car. The door opened, and a familiar figure emerged, wrapped in wind and snow. Miles? For a moment, it was as if I was back in that twilight 6 years ago when we first met. I was stranded alone in a sandstorm on a deserted border, and he descended from the heavens through the swirling yellow dust. I opened my car door, trembling. Miles. Without a word, he swept me up into his arms and carried me to the back seat of his car. He took off his down jacket and wrapped it tightly around me, then twisted open a thermos. Drink some hot water first. I obediently took it. Thank you. The cup had traces of his use. Normally, my germophobia would have kicked in. But right now, I was too cold to care. I even had a self-deprecating thought. Whatever, we'd kissed so many times before. He didn't say anything. He pulled out a few hand warmers and tore them open. He knelt down, his voice low. Lift your foot. I instinctively did as he said. He took off my cold, damp shoes and carefully stuck the warmers to the soles of my feet. He didn't say a word the whole time, but his actions were incredibly natural. A strange ripple went through my heart. How did you know I was here? He tied my shoelaces. Alex saw your post and was freaking out, insisting he had to come rescue you. So, I came. Oh. He set the navigation. We'll go to the nearest town first. We'll get your car towed tomorrow. I was frozen stiff and could only nod. The car's heater was blasting. Wrapped in his jacket and sipping the hot water, I slowly started to thaw. We didn't speak a word on the way. The radio played old songs as the snow fell heavily outside. He would occasionally glance at the rearview mirror, his eyes landing on my face. I stole a peek at him. He seemed a bit fairer than when he was a soldier. Back then, his face was dark and chapped from the wind and sand, and his hands were covered in calluses. The ride was silent until we reached a small motel in town. The woman at the front desk yawned. Only one room left, with a king-sized bed. You want it or not? We glanced at each other, then silently handed over our IDs. The room was simple but clean enough. Go take a hot shower, he said, setting down my bag. Okay. When I came out, the bed had been changed to the 4-piece set I always bring with me. I got it from the side pocket of your bag. I just hummed in response. He used to always remember that. I looked at the single bed. Where are you going to sleep? He pulled a quilt from the closet. On the floor. The floor's cold. It's fine. I've slept outside before. I lay down, my head spinning, but I couldn't sleep. The old-fashioned radiator in here meant the floor was probably freezing. After wrestling with myself for a while, I lifted a corner of the blanket. Miles, come sleep on the bed. He chuckled softly. Worried about me? I'm worried you'll freeze to death and there'll be no one to help me get my car towed. I glared at him. Stop pretending to be a gentleman. It's not like we hadn't slept together before. He let out a low laugh and lay down beside me. A familiar scent enveloped me, and my body felt an inexplicable sense of security. I quickly fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I was sleeping fitfully when I felt a cool hand on my forehead. Stella, wake up. I groggily opened my eyes, my head splitting. Miles had somehow gotten a thermometer and fever medicine. You have a fever. Be good, take this. I was weak all over, letting him half carry me as he fed me the medicine. Miles, I'm cold. He wrapped the blankets tightly around me and put his arm around me. I was delirious with fever. Miles, you're a jerk. Yeah, I'm a jerk, he replied placatingly. Why didn't you ever comfort me? If I comfort you now, is it too late? I drowsily snuggled into his embrace, my hand slipping under his shirt. You don't train anymore. Are the abs still there? Let me check. His body tensed, and his voice grew tight. Don't mess around. We'll talk after your fever breaks. Just for a second. Stella, are you sure that's my abs you're touching? Uh-huh. And they're still very hard. The next morning, I woke up in his arms. The moment I came to, I met his unreadable gaze. I shot back. You had a fever last night. Ahem, thanks. I'll transfer you the money for the medicine. He stared at me, then suddenly smiled. Stella, you always cough when you're feeling guilty. I was mortified. Who's guilty? I just think, this isn't appropriate. What's not appropriate? He suddenly leaned in close, his arms bracketing me. Is it inappropriate to snuggle into someone's arms in the middle of the night, or is it inappropriate to grope them all over? You. My face turned beet red. I had a fever. He raised an eyebrow. You definitely had a fever. I was speechless. I huffily got out of bed and dressed. He followed behind me, slowly getting himself ready, and casually flipped the hood of my sweatshirt out for me. Just as I was about to open the door, he grabbed my wrist from behind. His palm was scorching against my skin. My heart skipped a beat, and I forced myself to stay calm. Stella. His voice was hoarse. About back then, I'm sorry. My body tensed. I couldn't describe the mix of sourness, hurt, and a touch of melancholy that filled my heart. I tried to pull my hand back, but he held on. If sorry was enough, we wouldn't need the poly. The words caught in my throat. Damn it, he is the police. I held my head high and muttered, "Who needs your apology?" He was silent for a moment. He gently turned me to face him. Then, "Do you still want me?" His eyes were swirling with emotion. My heart felt like it had been struck, leaving it aching and numb. 3 years. It was an indescribable feeling. I fought back the sting in my nose. I lifted my foot and stomped on his, as if to vent my frustration. No way. I like younger guys now. The moment I lifted my foot, he pulled me into his arms. He bent down and pressed his lips to mine. I was completely caught off guard. He kissed me until my brain was starved of oxygen. "Miles, I have an interview later, don't mess with my head." If I showed up on camera with swollen lips, I'd die of embarrassment. He didn't let go, his arms holding me tight. I bit his lip in frustration. "You damn pervert. Don't think I won't call the cops on you." He licked the drop of blood from his lip and opened his arms. "Go ahead. Cuff me." I was speechless. This jerk. When did he learn to be so shameless? I stomped on his foot one more time for good measure before leaving. The heat in my face took a long time to fade. I silently cursed myself. I didn't want to get entangled with him again. Why was it that the moment I got close, I lost all control? When I came out after finishing my work, a cold wind hit me. Miles was waiting outside. He took out a red scarf and, without a word, wrapped it around my neck. "Don't get a fever again." He then handed me a can of hot milk. I sat in the passenger seat, sipping the milk from the can. He leaned over to fasten my seatbelt, his lips brushing against my cheek. Outside the window, the snow had stopped, and a few children were building a snowman. The warmth from the can spread from my palm to my heart. I suddenly felt incredibly relaxed. "Miles, do you still like me?" I turned to look at him. His hand, still on the seatbelt, tightened. "I do. But I don't like you as much anymore," I said deliberately, my voice muffled by the scarf. "I'm not going to chase after you like I used to, and I'm not going to sit by my phone waiting for your texts." "Okay," he said, his tone unreadable. "I have a bad temper, I hold grudges, and I'm petty." He smiled. "I'm aware. If you want me, you can pursue me," I said, lifting my chin. "But I might not say yes. After all, I'm a hard catch, you know." A self-deprecating smile touched his lips. An old man like me, having to learn how to chase after a young woman. I snorted. "At your age, you really can't compete with the younger guys, officer." At that, his face darkened. "What does a little punk like that know? Can he take care of you?" A kid like Alex just skips school, gets into fights, and leeches off his parents. When I was his age, I had already tested into a top military academy. The whole way back, he went on and on, listing all of his nephew's faults. It was both amusing and endearing. After we got back, Miles began his mission to win me back. Since he was still on my block list, Alex's phone became his temporary communication channel. "Is your cold better? It's getting colder tomorrow. Wear warm clothes. Breakfast will be delivered soon. Remember to eat. I'm off this weekend. Payday. Please check your account." The first one to crack was Alex. "Ex-and-in-law, I'm begging you, can you please unblock him? Why do you two have to use my phone to date? What am I, your personal messenger? Actually, my uncle is old. You should consider me instead. People say I look a lot like him, and I'm younger, right? Me, he never got an 18% on a physics test." "Alex, how did you know that? Did he tell you bad things about me?" "Oh, he certainly did. By the way, he wants me to ask if you're free after work today." Gritted teeth emoji. Me, nope. Alex, okay. Happy emoji. After work, my best friend invited me to a bar to celebrate her getting over her breakup. We were having a great time dancing when a few police officers walked in for a routine check. My friend nudged me. Look at that one. Oh my God, how is he so handsome? How does he compare to your guy in heaven? I looked up and saw Miles in his police uniform, walking toward us. Under the club lights, his features were sharp and impossibly alluring. They say you never forget the person you fell for at first sight, and seeing him again, I knew it was true. I swallowed hard. Damn, that uniform. Whether my heart was fluttering or not, I was definitely feeling something. He stood in front of our table, a serious expression on his face. IDs, please. My friend frantically dug through her purse. I glanced at the man putting on a professional act. His legs, encased in the uniform, were long and straight, and the view in between was quite impressive. Officer, do I look like a minor to you? He looked down, his gaze landing on my face, and a corner of his mouth twitched. No. But you look like the type to get scammed at a bar. You. I was speechless. After a by-the-book check of our IDs, he reminded me, go home early. I deliberately provoked him. Why should I? The male dancers here are pretty high quality. I haven't even ordered one yet. His eyes darkened. Do you need me to explain the penalties for soliciting prostitution? Who's soliciting? We're just having a few drinks, holding a few hands, sharing a few secrets. You're overstepping your authority, aren't you, officer? He took a step closer, his presence overwhelmingly intense. You can't. Then what should I do? I crossed my arms and looked him up and down. How about this? You're not looking too bad yourself, officer. I'll pay you $888 for the night. How about you keep me company? Under the table, my friend was yanking on my sleeve. Girl. Are you crazy? You're hitting on a cop. Behind him, his colleagues were staring at us with a mixture of shock and gossip-hungry curiosity. Miles's gaze was locked on me. Then, in front of everyone, he took my hand. Fine. Let's go. I was stunned. Aren't you on duty? Overtime's over. He pulled me toward the exit. Time for my second job. And so, I hired him for the night. The moment we walked through my door, he pinned me against it, and a storm of kisses rained down on me. It was a kiss filled with years of pent-up desire. My legs went weak. As he kissed me, he started unbuttoning his uniform. I put my hand on his. Don't take it off. God knows, that uniform did things to me. I admit it. No matter how much time had passed, I still craved his body. Especially after all these celibate years, it was like a wildfire meeting dry tinder. Everything that followed was a natural, ferocious blur that made me forget the world existed. After the first time, only 3 words were in my head. That was incredible. During the second round, I started begging for mercy. Miles, that's enough. By the end of the third, I didn't even have the strength to curse him. Get off, I'm going to die. He chuckled softly and kissed my forehead. Wrapped in a blanket, I watched him change the bed sheets. Then he picked up my underwear and took it to the bathroom. Make sure to close the door on your way out, I reminded him. He stopped in his tracks and turned around, incredulous. You want me to leave? What else? I blinked, playing dumb. You weren't planning on spending the night, were you? Officer, our relationship isn't exactly at that stage, is it? What relationship? He demanded. Hookups, I said matter-of-factly. You didn't think we were boyfriend and girlfriend, did you? I never agreed to that. I think this is good. I'm busy with work, and how about I pay you $3,000 a month, and you come over once a week? His face went dark with anger. He gritted his teeth, walked into the bathroom, and washed my underwear with a grim expression. Then he slammed the door on his way out. TSK. Seeing him like that, I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. The next day, I went to work in high spirits. My boss called me into his office and pointed to a news story. "Stella, look at this. An official anti-scam live stream went viral because of one of the cops." I leaned in for a closer look. The man on the screen, looking righteous as he explained scam tactics, was none other than Miles. In the camera's frame, he wore his police uniform, stood tall and straight, and had a cool, handsome face. But because he was so good-looking, the live comments had gone completely off the rails. OMG, this guy's visuals could crush any pop star. Officer Miles, it's so hot. Don't you think wearing so much is bad for anti-scam awareness? It's not that I don't want to follow the account, it's that you're wearing too many clothes. The viewers even started clamoring for him to perform a talent. In response, he grabbed a colleague and demonstrated a self-defense maneuver. The movements were clean and impressive, and the comments section went even crazier. This guy, Miles, used to be a decorated soldier from a border defense command. He just transferred to the city's criminal investigation department and already led his team to bust a major fraud ring. Every media outlet is fighting to interview him, and we have to be the first. We have to get this story. My boss looked at me earnestly. And the interview has to be in depth. We need to really get to know him as a person. I know this Miles guy seems a little hard to approach, but I'm confident you can win him over with your professionalism and passion. But I had just kicked him out last night without giving him a title. Oh, and I forgot to pay him. I really shouldn't have been so proud. This was going to be tricky. For the sake of the story, I gritted my teeth. First, I unblocked a certain someone. Then, I sent him a very respectful message. "Officer Miles, my boss has assigned me to do an in-depth interview with you about anti-scam awareness and your personal story. When would be a good time for you?" He replied at a leisurely pace. "Hookups only meet once a week. And if I recall, it's only been a few hours. Just tell me when you're free. If you dare to give an interview to anyone else, you're dead. Officer Miles, please say yes." My boss specifically instructed me to conduct an in-depth interview. He sent me a location pin for an apartment complex. "Come over after work." I swallowed my pride and dutifully showed up at his door. When I arrived, he had just showered and was wearing a loose t-shirt and lounge pants. He had shed his usual sharp demeanor for a more relaxed, at-home vibe. I took out my recorder and notebook, trying to look professional. "Officer Miles, shall we begin?" He reached out a long arm and wrapped it around my waist. I lost my balance and ended up sitting on his lap. "Sure. I'll be sure to cooperate fully with your in-depth interview, Miss Sullivan." His eyes burned into mine, and his hand began to wander. My cheeks flushed, but I tried to maintain my composure. "First question, and the one our readers are most interested in. Are you currently single, officer?" He let out a low laugh, his fingertips sending shivers down my spine. "I don't have a girlfriend, no. Just a hookup. And she only seems to be interested in my body." I trembled slightly. "Officer, maybe we should talk about something more macro." "Macro?" He raised an eyebrow and pulled me tighter against him. "Sure. I'd like to know, in a friends with benefits situation, if one party tries to use a financial transaction to cover up their real feelings, does that count as another form of fraud?" "Miles." I pushed against him, embarrassed and annoyed. "I'm working." "So am I. I'm cooperating with your in-depth interview." He gently stroked my stomach. "Are you satisfied with the depth of this interview so far, Miss Sullivan?" "Miles, you." "Focus, Miss Sullivan. What's the next question?" "It's, officer, why did you choose a career in law enforcement?" "To serve the people, of course." Then, he asked in a hoarse whisper, "Baby, are you satisfied with my service?" After a very in-depth interview, I was completely drained. I slept in his bed for a while. When I woke up, he was in the kitchen, cooking. I wrapped myself in his shirt and wandered around his apartment. It had a minimalist, masculine style with no unnecessary decorations. His study, however, was filled with books. On his desk, a photo frame caught my eye. It was a picture of us from a long time ago. It was from one of the rare times we had traveled together. I was nestled in his arms, my eyes crinkling with laughter. He was looking at me, smiling. Behind us was a sky full of sunset colors. I never saw a sunset that beautiful again. For years afterward, I would often think of it. I didn't know if I missed the sunset, or the person who watched it with me. On his desk was a yellowed notebook. The corners were worn, and it looked like it had been used for a long time. I opened it and found it filled with his handwriting. Period on the 20th. Remind her, she always forgets. 123 days until we meet. I miss her. Stella, Happy New Year. I'm thinking of you from 5,000 miles away. Why is she mad again? Heh, if I suddenly show up in front of you, will you cry from excitement? Baby, I wish I could see you every day. You are a free bird. You belong in the sky. Stella, someone else is protecting you now. I'm going to protect the people. Stella, I miss you so much. Still thinking of you this year. Not thinking of you this year. Never mind. I can't do it. I flipped through the diary, page by page, my vision blurring. Tucked inside was a thick stack of ticket stubs. Plane tickets, train tickets, bus tickets. The destination, without exception, was my city. 5,000 miles. 3 years. Over 1,000 days and nights. Behind all the arguments, the hurt, and the longing, were his countless journeys across mountains and rivers to reach me. He always said his post was too remote and never let me visit. He was always the one who came to see me. I never knew how long his journeys took or how much energy they consumed. When plane tickets were expensive during the holidays, he would sit on a slow train for dozens of hours. I held the heavy stack of tickets, and my tears fell onto the paper. Miles had come over at some point and was watching me, at a loss for what to do. It must have been so tiring, right? Such a long way, I asked him. He shook his head and wiped away my tears. Not at all. Every time I thought about seeing you soon, I was too excited to sleep. The road to see you was the happiest, most beautiful road I've ever traveled. Miles, no one gave me their umbrella. I had been walking alone for too long, and I just wanted you to comfort me. My voice was choked with emotion. If you had just said one comforting thing, I wouldn't have broken up with you. His eyelids trembled, and his voice grew tight. I didn't want you to wait for an uncertain future. Your life is a vast, open field. You should be freer, more brilliant. You shouldn't be tied down by me. What about now? I looked up at him. He smiled. Now I'm out of the army. I have more time, and a thicker skin. No matter where you fly, I'm going to chase after you. He looked at me quietly. We were silent for a long time. Then, we looked at each other and smiled. I wiped away a tear and let out a small huff. Seeing as you're so pathetic, I'll reluctantly agree. He pulled me into a tight, emotional hug. Outside the window, the city lights twinkled gently. 2 hearts had finally found their harbor. Later, I traveled alone to the border region where he had been stationed. He had crossed mountains and rivers to see me countless times. Now, I wanted to walk the same 5,000-mile journey he had. The train rumbled on, passing through mountains, rivers, and seas of clouds. Through deserts and plateaus. It was a long, tedious journey, and my body was utterly exhausted. After getting off the train, I still had to take a long-distance bus for more than 10 hours. And after that, there was a long, long walk down a small path. This was the road he had traveled back and forth, countless times. I used to always doubt if he loved me enough. Now, having walked his path once, I finally understood. If it wasn't love, who would undertake such a long and arduous journey. During a transfer, I met one of his army buddies who was returning from a family visit. He recognized me instantly. "The captain used to look at your picture every day." He couldn't stop talking about Miles. "Ma'am, you have no idea. He was so strict with us, but the moment he got a call from you, his voice would soften instantly. He couldn't keep the smile off his face. He'd even secretly take selfies to send to you. We caught him once and laughed our heads off. Whenever you two fought, we all suffered. He wouldn't yell at us, he'd just train us to death. We all knew it was because he was holding in his anger and couldn't bear to take it out on you." I felt a little embarrassed. "I'm so sorry for putting you all through that." He waved his hand. "Don't worry about it. We all understood. Those of us with girlfriends and wives fight with them all the time, too. Being so far apart and with so little contact, it's normal for them to feel insecure. But I really never thought he'd leave the army. He was an officer who rose from the ranks as a college graduate. He was educated, physically strong, and had a limitless future. If you had waited a few more years after graduation, he would have reached a high enough rank for you to get a family posting. But he said you weren't his accessory. You're a reporter, and you have your own world. He couldn't let you sacrifice your dreams. It was a real shame when you two broke up. We all knew he left the army for you, and we all felt bad for him. He was up for another promotion this year. But he's at peace with it. He said you can't have all the good things in life, and he can serve his country no matter where he is." That day, his friend told me so many stories about him. I listened quietly, the tears on my face dried by the sandy wind. I had always thought he never considered our future. That he had grown tired of our relationship. But I never knew that in the places I couldn't see, he had already weighed every option for me, choosing to fulfill my dreams and my freedom. I looked at the rows of poplar trees along the border, and it was as if I could see his shadow. Standing in the wind and sand, greeting the dawn or cloaked in starlight, guarding this land. Clutching his phone, hiding in a corner with a slightly better signal, listening to my endless complaints and stories, whispering clumsy words of love. Clutching a ticket, his heart full of longing, crossing 5,000 miles of clouds and moonlight. Time and time again.